Um, okay, just a second. Let me say I got that. And we'll go to the screen. And here we go. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see this. We'll start really quickly with, like I said, where we came from. So the idea is that experience and wisdom are your clients' most valuable assets. It's the thing that's going to last beyond their will and hopefully generations to come. So by capturing that and recording it and getting credit for that, you automatically get a little bit of soft marketing as well, because we've figured out a way to co-brand this so that your name comes up with that memory as well, and you can reach out to family and friends. Let me get this over here. Okay, so let me go back actually. So this, when we had a meeting with estate attorneys before we started development on this platform, we asked them what they were using. You can see what they listed down there. And we talked about the things that they wanted. And basically they wanted everything. They wanted to be able to do in-person, remote recordings. They wanted interview prompts. They wanted to be able to upload other videos that their clients might have. They wanted to be able to download it in a very organized format and very professional looking, if they wanted to present it on a USB with maybe other documents. They wanted brand name recognition and privacy settings so that maybe if you did an entire interview, there's portions of it that might be wanted to for privacy, like maybe they'd want to share everything, but except for maybe something they wanted for their daughter's 16th birthday, or maybe something that they didn't really want to share until after their passing, like in how they put together their will, something like that. Allow dual sign-in so that the attorney could do the recording, but also the client could do the recording, or their family could do the recording for them, and they could add to it throughout the year, having it labeled, and again, selective sharing. So then, of course, the next thing you do is due diligence, and you look at other platforms out there and you try and do more for less. You may have heard of Storyworth or StoryCorps or Family Tree Video. Actually, you probably haven't heard of Family Tree Video. I actually did a lot of research on if there were any video platforms out there, and this was the closest I could find, which was pretty darn expensive. So basically this shows you what would happen if you hired somebody to come in and do kind of a video legacy, and basically they just stick it on a USB and give it to you. If you pay for any kind of storage, that's where it gets up into the thousands of dollars.
Karen, let me just pop in here. Just to make sure you understand, Generational Story's been in business for, what has it been, 8 years now? Is that right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
8 years. So this is just a 2.0 version, and she changed the name to reflect the 2.0 version. So this is not a just barely conceived last year company. So this is the 2.0.
No, it was an updated company. The original company was named Emberall. You could only do in-person recordings on your phone. There wasn't a dual sign-in. One person had to own the account. There wasn't any brand name recognition. It could stay online for a really long time. So it did have that feature, but all the other features that we talked about, this is when we were doing a 2.0, we're like, we needed to upgrade it and have a better technology that hopefully is really easy for attorneys. So there we go.
And their clients too.
Yeah, and their clients, exactly. Okay, so the way it works is there is such a thing as a trial album so that you can get on, test it, see how it works. It even gives you some video call time to try the remote recordings. A standard album is $50. And with a standard album, that's for a year. And there's 2 hours of the video recording, like it says there, and 50 clips that people could upload. A clip is like a small segment. So rather than we'll show you how that works in a second, but rather than having like a 2-hour long or even a 30-minute long video, it's now broken up so that somebody watching the video can say, oh, I just want to hear about how mom and dad met, or, I want to hear about grandpa, or, elementary school or something. And you can go straight to that video and start there. If you want to, you can just let it play all the way through. It will do that, but it also is marked. And that makes it really easy to share clips, because sharing clips on Facebook or sending them via email, as well as I do, that 30 minutes doesn't work very well, but you can share little small segments of it. So we put it in those bite-sized chunks. There's also to keep, when you want to keep it online, if you aren't recording every year and your client's not interested in recording all the time and adding new videos, then you can just go down to a storage fee for a read-only album. And then there's a legacy album, which is a one-time payment for clients who are interested. That means that actually that money doesn't go directly into, the company's coffers. I mean, it kind of does, but it goes into a trust fund that is reserved for maintenance of the website. So basically taking the interest off of that money is what we use to maintain it and keep it perpetuating for, 100, 200 years. The other thing that everybody always asks when I get to this point is, okay, but I have a client that I just, I meet them in July, I deliver all my stuff in August and I don't see them again. It's very easy to transfer the album to them. You also paid for a year, so they have a year to continue uploading to it, but it's also really easy to download it. So they can immediately download it to their computer, to their hard drive, to a USB, watch it on their phone, whatever they want, if they don't want to keep that online. So you're not locked into paying an annual fee or lose it forever. We make it really easy. Clea, do you want to say some more on that?
So with my work with Generational Story, I've incorporated it into my membership platform. So it becomes a basis of my membership offerings. So in the past, I would do of course, a recording, and then I would download it and put it onto their USB along with their documents, and away they went. When I created my membership, I have a level where they get a yearly conversation with myself or a member of my staff. And we also can add to their legacy album in place of that conversation, or in addition to that conversation. I just set aside an hour. And so that's where that standard album, $50 annually, would be. And that's why I really pushed Karen to make them remote recording, so I could do it through Zoom, because I just cannot fathom having individual meetings with live recordings with each one of my membership clients. It's just not even sustainable. So now it's super easy. In fact, I just did one this past week where we went over their document review. We had the conversations about how their health, their relationships, their different aspects of their life and planning were. And then we hopped on to Generational Story, and I recorded a 15-minute segment of 2 questions, and we added it to their existing album. So it was super easy. So that's how that works. And I'll be coming on July 1st, I believe, with NLBM as a legacy mentor. So you will be talking a lot more, and I'll be bringing a lot of resources to you guys as far as building out your own memberships and having that recurring revenue and having that relationship with your clients based on the relationship that comes from doing these interviews. You really become part of the family. So.
Okay, well, I'm going to show you just a few things. I just want to make sure, can you still see my screen that has an actual live album up right now, or my account? Can you see my screen? Yeah, where there's a bunch of faces on it. Okay, so these are all my albums. And basically, if I wanted to click on one, I go inside of this particular person's album, and here is all the clips that I've recorded of her. So as you can see, like, I can just, skip down and say, okay, tell me about your family.
They got married anyway, and then
okay, so you can see that it just jumps right into that. And you have different things you can do over here. So I could, for instance, say, okay, maybe I for whatever, I don't think this one would be it, but I can make this particular one private. And if I mark that as private, then something went wrong on it. Geesh, I don't know why it didn't work this time. Okay, so my internet might not be working. I really feel bad because it has always done this before. So it will make it private. And if I choose to make something private, it will, and hopefully my internet works the rest of the time. Otherwise, I have some slides I can pull up. But if I make it private, then if I shared this entire album, the things that were marked private would not be shown. If I wanted to edit the information on this clip, there's a couple of different things I can do. So, tell me about your parents. Maybe she ends up just talking about her mother. And so maybe I want to go back in there and change that to her mother. but I can also add a description down here. And in that description, I can put any link I want to. So if she's talking about her mother and she already had created, for instance, a photo album of her mother online, I could put that link right in there to that. And it's like, you know, see pictures of mom right here. Or maybe there's a newspaper article, you know, see awards that mom won or that my dad won or something like that. And this description can be quite long, but you can link anything else that you want in there. You can also take the link, like this is copy link to album, and you can take that entire link and you can publish it on things like Ancestry or something like that. So you can actually link your entire photo album, which they don't allow you to upload. I think you get 15 minutes, maybe a video, but you could link this entire thing to your name and to your ancestry if you wanted to. Real quick, because I know we're running out of time, so I'm talking a lot. If you have a question, raise your hand or just yell out. So this shows me all the questions that she's answered. This shows me the question that I still have in there. I can add questions at any time to this. So I can type in my own question, you know, because maybe she did military service and I say, what branch of service were you in? Okay. And then I could add that. I can also go in and add my suggested questions. So if I want to do this really fast, I can come in here and say, oh, okay, well, I just wanted to get started. So I'm going to look at the get started template, and automatically when I clicked on that, it selected all the questions. If I don't want to do all the questions, I just take a few of them out. Like, okay, we already talked about this and this. And now I want to also add one down here in growing up. I want her to tell me about her siblings. Okay, done. It's all there. When I go into the recording, that means that the first question, I'm going to see all these questions in order. I'll show you that in a sec. And I'm going to see all these questions in order. And as soon as I do a save for one question, it will automatically advance to the second one. But I do always have the option of jumping down to another one or doing a custom question. Just along that line, this tab up here, my templates, allows you to go in and create your own, whatever you wanted for your couples or whatever you do, whatever, you know, works for you that way. Let's go back into this one really quick. If I, so from the online interface right here, this is where you go into a video call. It's probably not going to allow me to use my camera. You would get a preview of that because I'm on the Zoom camera, so I can't do double. But right here, it will allow me to send a link directly to whoever I want to interview. So I send off that link and then they can go straight into the video call and you can start having a conversation. Because I can't go into the video call, I'm going to have to show you pictures of that later. This is the upload videos. So if you wanted to upload, you would just browse your files, click on the file you wanted, and it would begin uploading that video, and that would go directly into your clips. So then you could go over here, label it, whatever you wanted to, put in descriptions or links if you wanted to that, and you have that uploaded as well. Any questions so far on how this works? If not, all right, we're going to go back.
Let me just pop in. The plan your own template. I love that feature. I begged for it because it has cut my preparation. I can literally 2 minutes before my client comes in, I can hop on Generational Story. I have my own template that I've created. I have like 6 questions that I always ask for my first interview with them. I want to get a broad overview of their lives just in case something happens between now and next year or next 3 years. And so I always ask the same like 5-6 questions, and I have a single template and a couples template because I ask different, just one different question between the 2 of them, but also the couples template. I really like interviewing them together. I know that some people would think that that was kind of risky considering divorce rates, but the clients that I have, it's worked out really well with because I love seeing them together, especially recording that video of them holding hands and playing off each other. So I love, having the templates, and so you can make other templates. I could have, session 2 template where I ask certain questions as well. So anyway, that's just wanted to pop in on that.
Just one more thing. When you first, come in, of course, you wouldn't have any of this. It would be like, you don't have any albums. So when you want to create a new album, right, you can go, because I've already created a trial, I don't have that choice. But let's say that I wanted to create, another standard album. I would come in here and I would enter Clea's name, and then could add her as a contributor over here. So I add, Clea Harris and, Clea, and then I put in Clea's email, Clea, I'm not going to type her whole thing. She has a really long one, Gmail, oops, l.com. And then I could, if I had a picture of her, I could upload it. You can also take one off of your camera if you're doing it in person. And then I would simply create that album. And I don't have any questions in there yet. So I could go to plan interviews, start adding questions, and start recording. So that's what an empty album looks like. So let me, and if you don't upload the picture, going back to the album, see, Clea is going to be the first one. I haven't uploaded her picture. So that's why the Generational Story logo is there. As soon as I upload it, then I have her picture there as well. On my album sheets. As soon as I created that album, as soon as I hit create, if that had been her real email, she would have got an invitation to start editing this album. So it would just say, hey, an account's been created for you. Just enter your password, and boom, now that individual that you just created the album with and added as a contributor can automatically start uploading all kinds of stuff.
You can take a picture of them live and it will show up as their picture as well. So don't stress about having to upload a picture.
Okay, so we're just going to skip through a few of these. You've already seen that. This is where you would go when you start. You'll go to our website and just click on try it for free, and you get started on that free album. This is important on the sign up. I wanted to just show this page. Most of it's what you've seen before, but we have a backup contact, which is optional, which I strongly suggest. And that means that if anything happens to you, we have somebody to reach out to say, what do we do with the albums that, that are under this account? So that gives you some peace of mind that we have a way to reach out. Okay, we already went through that on the creating albums. So let's skip that. Okay, why would you want to download the app? Because if you want to record in person, that's how you do it. You're using the camera on your mobile phone in order to record. And this is what that recording screen would look like. You'd see the question right at the top. This is your record, and then you'd hit stop. This is what albums look like on your phone. This is where you would see the questions on your phone. And then if we were to record something, you'd be taken, when you hit end record, you're taken to the save. You can decide to delete it. This makes it really easy. So if somebody says, you ask them a question, you go, tell me your name and where you were born. And they're like, okay, all right, let me try that again. Because sometimes people, then you just delete it and you start again. Super easy. You do the editing right there. There's no post anything. You just say, we're going to do that again, delete it or save it. And then it's automatically uploaded. You do have to leave the app open in order for it to upload, but then it will, upload into the album on itself. You don't have to do anything else. You just need to make sure. It'll say on the top, one of 5 clips uploading, and you'll know when it's completed.
Hey, Karen, just to clarify, this is the view from you as the owner of the account and with all of your clients in it, hypothetically. So your clients wouldn't see each other's albums or have access. Of course, they would just.
Right. When the client opens it up, like they can download the app on their phone. They may be wanting to do recordings, but if it was Kathy's, she would only see this album unless she herself created another album for somebody else, which she could do. But the album that you have created and the one that you're paying for, that one, she would only see that. Oh, and let me just show you something else real quick. You can tell if you've been, like, I could share an album with you or create an album with you, but if there's this little key in it, that means you are the owner of the album. That's what that means. Okay. So let's see if we can. Oh, whoops. I'm sorry. Skip that. This is what the recording screen looks like that I told you I would show you. So I'm down here in the corner so I can kind of see what I'm doing. This is the question that
You're not recorded though, right? When in the actual final recording?
That's true. In the final recording, my video is taken out of it. This is just while I'm recording, I can make sure that I'm in the camera and they can see me, because what they see is just like in a Zoom call where you see the other person talking, but both voices are recorded because we want to hear if you encourage them, like they go off on something and you're like, oh, so was that your daughter? And they go, oh yeah. We want to hear the question instead of just, oh yeah. So both voices are recorded. Once you hit that record button, I mean, you can be chatting to them on the call and then you just hit the record button. In this case, I was on this question. Once I hit save, it would automatically advance me to the next question, but I could always choose a different one. So I could skip down the line, or I could go to custom question. They started talking about something and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that, you were a foreign exchange student. Tell me more about that. And, you might choose to do a different question.
And now the question panel is not recorded as well. It's just the picture of the client. So it's a clean recording. This is just on your side. And also, I would highly recommend not going onto tangents unless your client shook Hitler's hand, which happened to me last week. I was recording a client. I had no idea she shook Hitler's hand because he visited her kindergarten in Germany. We went on a tangent for that one. We had to capture that one. But anyway, largely leave it up to the otherwise you'll be there all day. You got to be really careful.
So from either the app that you download or from your online interface, you can do all of these things. The things that you can only do online is create those custom templates. Now you can access those templates. So if Clea's already created them and she's headed out and she just has her mobile phone and she's like, okay, quick, create an album and quick, add this template, that's fine. But creating the templates is only done online. It just got too confusing trying to put all this into a small phone. Sharing, you can share the clips immediately. Even as you're saving them, you could share a clip. And you can share any clip from the phone, but to share the entire album, then that's something that you do online. Downloading all the albums in the GS format. So when you download it, when you click download, you get the whole thing just like what we saw. Looks like you were online, where you can click to what question you want and it'll start playing it. That is what a download looks like without any internet access at all.
GS means generational story format. It's not some fancy technological term. So
yeah. And that's the only place you can also upload videos from another source or add additional album contributors. So starting next week, we've almost got it done. And so it's going to be released next week. You will be able to add not just your client, but other people that you may want to contribute. So maybe it's a husband and wife, maybe it's a husband, wife, and their daughter who wants to be able to do the recordings or to be able to upload videos of her parents without logging into their account, those kinds of things. And that's where you'd manage your account, your subscriptions, things like that.
You got 3 minutes, Karen.
Okay. We already went over that. We already went over the video transfer. This is our upcoming features. QR codes for those legacy albums. The idea is that you could get a QR code, you could stick it on an heirloom or a headstone, and people would be able to access them immediately. Shareable playlists. I'll let Clea get into why we're doing that, but essentially, different family members could get on. If it was a family asset, a legacy, they could record and have their own playlists, but they'd all be connected. Working towards sending out email prompts for people who put things in their planned interview and maybe want to respond to that once a month. You can linking a photo to a question and video transcriptions. Okay. Questions.
Wow. And now think of a question.
I'll ask a question. So, Clea, when you're dealing with a new client, and so you've done, the design, sign it, you're at the binder meeting, and I'm assuming that's when you offer to record the legacy interview. How do you has that already priced into your package, or do you offer it for free the first time, and then if they want to continue, you have them join in membership? How do you work? How do you make sure that you recover the cost of this but do it in a way that allows for flexibility depending on whether they're going to join membership or not.
So when I do membership, it is something I talk about from the pre-webinar before they even meet with me. So I'm
Okay.
constantly seeding them for, boy, 3-4 conversations or interactions before, like my pre-recorded webinar. It talks about my membership. In my family wealth planning session, from the very beginning, when I compare myself to a traditional documents only attorney, I continually am referring to membership. And I always say something like, now all my clients have a review every 3 years, but many of them do prefer to be in membership because, some of them frankly don't feel they have too many 3-year cycles left. And, like I make a few jokes and, that kind of stuff. So I'm constantly talking about, and then if you're a membership, I do this, but then we do this, but then if you're a membership, I do this. So I actually introduce my 3, and this is getting into what we'll be going over when I become a legacy mentor, and I'll be training you all on this. But I actually introduced my 3 pricing levels, right? And my membership before I even go into reviewing their documents and their assets in that family wealth planning session. So they see my membership, and then I introduce the membership to them, and I talk about the legacy interview. Then I talk about, in my comparison, I talk about how we'll do a legacy interview at their binder delivery. And so it's just woven into it. So they are expecting it. And then they actually sign up for membership at the exact same time as they pay for their foundational planning. I don't wait till the end. In fact, it's a super awkward conversation. I tried doing that. It was so icky. Like, here, you just spent $5,000 with me, and now I have this thing called membership. And they're like, are you kidding me? You just milked me for all but if they come into it like, oh, this is just how it works, then I literally have probably at least an 80% conversion rate to my mid-grade level, which is $900 a year. That includes the legacy interview on a yearly basis, where we just add to it like 1 question, 2 questions a year, but we start out like everyone else with the main platform, 6 questions. So that's how I handle it. And so financially, if for example, a client were every 3 years, I would pay for the $50 for the first year, give them that access. That would be just part of my, I'm a different kind of attorney kind of thing. And then I would give them the opportunity to either take over the album if they wanted it to be $50 per year, or I would just downgrade it to a $10, just maintenance. And then when I do their every 3-year review, I would, depending on if I'm going to do it virtually or in person, most of them are virtual, and I find that $50 is a super low price to pay for me to be able to add that legacy interview virtually, just being able to do it through Zoom. I consider it a convenience fee to just be able to, just kind of like, how we're doing remote online notarization a lot now. That costs, and yes, we could do it in person, but the amount of time and effort and simplification it is to just have it on Zoom and have that platform there with all of it is an amazing feeling when you add to that video, or while you're having that review conversation with them, something comes up that is important to them, or something comes up that has happened, or and then I often will segue and be like, what, that's a great question for us to answer in your generational story, legacy interview. Let's pop into that. And then they'll pop in. We actually will do the review on Zoom, and then we'll pop into generational story towards the end, even though Karen has generously given us 2 hours of time, because even though you're not recording, it's still taking up bandwidth of time on interview
on the recording platform.
So I just go on Zoom, because then I can share screen and do all that kind of stuff. And then we pop into generational story really easily. There's a link that they get, they just click on it, they're right in, and away you go.
Okay.
So
I see. Do you just put the link in the Zoom chat?
you can, or you can actually send it to them, and it sends to their email, and they can pop in, or they can actually log on through their contributor side of they can log on to generational story through their contributor account, and they're right there with you. So it's really slick.
All right.
Did I answer? Was that too much answer for your question?
No, that was great. That was perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
I think one thing I want to bring up, because I brought it up in the first session, so just to be fair, if you guys get on the platform and you start using it, download your trial album, and then you're like, okay, well, I could really use, what I really think you should do is develop a training video on, I don't know, whatever, I want a 20-second video on how to create templates. I think this was a little frustrating. It'd be easier for other people if you just did that. Or, I've been putting this together. I really think I need this for my client. Could you, is there something like you can throw that together? I am totally happy to do that kind of thing. And if you're willing to work with me on that, to make this, just even easier. I mean, we tried to make it as easy as we could, but even easier, then I'm totally willing to, upgrade that album for free, or you can start a new one and I can, but anyway, essentially give you a free album out of just like being willing to give feedback, and let me know how I can improve things. I really want to be there to support you guys, in this new way. Yeah.
And make sure you share your Calendly link, and then we probably better.
Yeah.
It should be
Oh, well, I was
covered
gonna
and
send
recording.
it out to an email to everybody that was here, along with the copy of this recording, and also all the slides that I shared.
Yeah, so I'm going to end the recording now so we can keep this short, but feel free to stay on and ask more questions if you have some.